Hello, I'm Jonathan Morin. I'm the creative director on Watch Dogs 2.
What are you guys showing new here with Watch Dogs 2?
Today we wanted to show a little bit of what we've pushed on a seamless online. So showing a bit more of what can happen when other players shows into your game. So we wanted to show what would happen if you play a game in an open world and cops join the show and start chasing you. And if you start battling a bit with the cops and it climbs in level, what if other players could join into the mix and help the cops? So dynamically creating a PvP mode on the fly as you play, so we can add to the emergence with the online play.
Can you talk about how the design of that mechanic works in your open world game?
Yeah, like the way it works basically is everybody plays the open world, and we geolocalizedly matchmake everyone. So you can seamlessly encounter another player, and once you're together, you can play co-op with him, friendly, or we can dynamically propose you an invasion, so you could invade him, but without loading, without anything. And the last one is you could be wandering around, and suddenly there's a car chase popping in front of you, and you could join the mix to try and catch the enemy hacker. Or that could happen to you. The cops are on your ass already, and then they can join out. So it surprises you, and now you have to strategize, or even more tacticalize, because you don't have time to strategize like right on the spot when it happens seamlessly. So it gets for a pretty exciting and surprising event afterwards.
Can you talk about how that works? Are you just going around doing side quests for the main story, and all of a sudden you can encounter another player? It's just always on. Can you turn it off?
Basically, the way it works, you can do all the content you want the way you want. If you're in free roam, if you're not currently in a mission, then you can have seamless encounter happens. Each of the different types of seamless modes, if you want, are designed with a timer in mind. So you can live an invasion or an encounter on the player, and then a timer is going to start to kind of protect you from having always invasions happening all the time. So we can tune that up to help players out. If you really don't want to have certain types of event happens to you, you can turn them off individually. So you could turn all of them off, or you could decide to say, I don't want invasions, but I like the co-op encounters because they're friendly, so I'm going to keep those on, so it's completely compatible, customizable for the player.
Now, are you invisible to the other player if you're in their world, or do they know there's another player invading their world?
They don't know per se, in a sense that we're not going to foreshadow their presence on the map or tell you all the information.
Yeah, big red dot on the map. They're here.
Exactly. We're not saying, hey, there's another player. But we will do stuff like dynamic events. So that's kind of a cool thing, is you could end up having a proposition of an event you can do, and then if you decide to join and deal with it, we can dynamically give the same event to someone else. And then you get into a situation like, oh, another guy's doing the same thing and we're doing it together. And then it gets into a situation where you can decide to go play co-op with him, or just continue doing your stuff and do something else. Or you can just cross them kind of emergently because you're on the same corner of a street as them, and then you start seeing him do stuff and it happens. But it's never enforced on you directly.
No, but could you hack their car, which by the way is surprisingly fun and addicting? Can you hack the enemy player's car without them knowing where you are and just kind of mess with them very subtly?
There's certainly going to be a lot of that, for sure. That's why we're doing also a timer for the seamless merge, so that it doesn't happen every 2 seconds. But it's certainly going to have a lot of emergence into the mix, and it gives an interesting taste of the mechanics too. You can cross a player who have a lot more botnet than you, which is kind of our mana system. So you could be able to hack 2 cars and have no more power to do it, but you can encounter a player who can almost hack cars endlessly and then see him do stuff, and you're like, wait a minute, I want to do that. And then it gives you an aspiration to try and push forward as well.
What are some of the challenges when it makes so many things in the city interactable as well as reactive to what you're doing?
It's a huge challenge to make sure everything works in a cohesive way. On the AI side, it's one thing to make a traffic system. It's another to start making sure that the reactions to this AI system happens to all the inputs you can do. So when you start adding something like hacking cars, which is indeed really fun, but you can do so much thing with the fact that you can hack cars that you need to deal with all the reactions, how is AI is going to react when every car starts moving by themselves. They need to panic at some point. They need to react in a certain way. If they see a car crushing another, but there's no driver in it, how does that work? So we have to be extra careful to make sure everything works. And then on top of that, another player could show up in the mix and add his own inputs into it. So it's pretty challenging, but I think it's well worth the effort, because in the end, we're all about giving creativity to the player so you can have fun in the sandbox.
And when does Watch Dogs 2 come out, and what platforms will it be on?
Watch Dogs 2 is going to come out in November 15, and it's going to happen on PC, Xbox and PS4 all at the same time.